It appears there is no end in sight to the controversy around the issue of open grazing. Now, despite disagreement to the move by some groups in sections of the country, southern governors have doubled down on their resolve to ensure that open grazing ends in Nigeria, with most states in the region now having a law to that effect. That will be our focus on this episode of Special Report. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. Thanks for joining us.
Livestock plays an important role in both the local and global economy. Animals are a good source of protein, raw materials for the leather and clothing industry, amongst others. They also provide a source of livelihood for many, especially herders. However, the survival of livestock development or animal husbandry has been checkered by controversy for a long time in human history. Across the world, one major concern with livestock development is open grazing, hence the introduction of ranching, but some developing countries are yet to embrace the concept owing to cultural practices, amongst other reservations. In Nigeria, open grazing has become a vexed issue, with farmers and herders constantly at daggers drawn, leading to major conflicts with resultant casualties both to lives and property.
235/2010.
Rather than stand idly by and watch the conflicts escalate amongst farmers and herders, measures like the controversial ranching are being deployed.
We express our strong opposition to separatist agitation and hate speeches, while urging those indulging in such to desist forthwith. We renew our belief in the unity, stability, and sustainability of the country. We endorse the position of the Southern governors taken at their May 11, 2021 summit in Asaba, Delta State, regarding ranching. We do so because such a decision will lessen tensions between farmers and herders, while also helping the long-term economic viability of both the farming and herding communities. We are mindful of the short-term dislocation this might cause, but are also mindful that this position is in the best interest of all parties concerned. We therefore recommend that the federal and state governments cooperate fully with each other to enact the necessary measures to encourage this more effective and modern method of cattle rearing.
To give legal backing, the anti-open grazing bill has been gathering momentum as some states are embracing the law, with governors signing the bill into law. The Enugu State House of Assembly has passed a bill prohibiting open grazing in the state as part of effort to regulate cattle ranching while addressing the farmer-herders menace.
Judiciary public position is agreement and a bill for law to prohibit open grazing, regulate cattle ranching, and for collective purposes. How bill number 7, 2021. Those who can say ayes. The ayes are.
The House had held a one-day public hearing on the same subject, with relevant stakeholders making both oral and written submissions. The Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Honorable Edward Ubosi, gave the assurance that when assented to by the governor, it will provide improved security.
This bill is not for any person. This bill is for the people of any state. This bill, we are not targeting any particular group of people, or targeting anyone. This bill is for the rest of the good people of any state, and those who are living in any state. At least it's just for us to be in peace in any state. And for us to put the situation of all of us will be one. Even in the Bible, the book of Matthew, it says there is time for everything. I believe that this is the time and the right time for this bill to see the matter of the bill.
The anti-grazing bill, when signed into law, is expected to make room for a 6-month transitional period before it will be put into effect. The governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, has charged residents not to take laws into their hands, but to embrace peaceful coexistence. Governor Tambuwal asked them to make their grievances known to the security agencies and leaders in their communities.
And today I assure you that your government, the government of people of Sokoto State, is working hand in hand with the federal government and in particular security agencies that are here in Sokoto State to ensure that we nip this in the bud. We arrest this situation and we re-establish peace and peaceful coexistence amongst our communities. I appeal to you, I urge you to expose any informant that normally exposes or give out information on movement of people and particularly, especially that of security personnel to the bandits and kidnappers. Informants are our enemies. We must take appropriate measures to address and checkmate their activities. Even if an informant is your son, or your daughter, or your grandson, or your brother, please provide information on him to the government. We are ready to take measures on them and to bring them to law and prosecute them accordingly.
In Lagos, Nigeria's southwest region, the state government has also passed the open grazing bill into law, banning herders from moving about their livestock. With this action, the Lagos state government is toeing the line of several other states.
That a bill for a law to prohibit open cattle grazing in Lagos State, the trespass of cattle on land, and for other connected purposes be passed into law. All in favor say aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Mr. Clark kindly send a clean copy to Mr. Governor for his answer.
The Lagos State House of Assembly had passed a bill that prohibits open cattle grazing in the state, with the Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, directing the acting clerk of the House, Mr. Olalekun Onafeko, to transmit a copy to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for assent.
The bill that we just passed this afternoon has to do with prohibition of an open grazing in the state. The bill, though it is a sensitive bill, and at the same time, it is a bill that is very, very important for a peaceful coexistence of people living within the state. We know what is happening between the herders and farmers and the communities they are residing in this country for the past many years. So, whereas there's supposed to be a symbiotic relationship between the farmers and the herders, but what we are witnessing is other side of it. This bill will protect both the citizens, the farmers, and also the herders themselves if they are there strictly with the laws. And that is one of the reasons why we believe that at us here at the Lagos State House of Assembly, that if it pass, as this law is being passed now, it's going to even enhance the productivities in the state. It's going to improve our economy. We pray we don't witness what is happening in other states that has to do with the clashes between the herders and the farmers. So henceforth, with this law, what we're only waiting for now is for the governor to append a signature to it. Then henceforth, anybody doing any open grazing within the state will be apprehended. And like what when we were doing our public hearing yesterday, a representative of Mieti Allah came that it should be very, very expensive for them to finance the the prohibition of open grazing that allow them to be grazing openly. Well said. That's one thing I know, is that it is your business. You must be able to manage it very well. But to us as the state, we're supposed to provide a conducive environment for you that will allow you to enhance your economy since you are paying your taxes to the state. And that is what we are doing. Because if you don't have peace in our state, you won't even be able
to do any economy activities. So I enjoin everybody to support this law and make sure that it works.
The bill was passed after unanimous votes by the lawmakers at the sitting where it was read for the third time. Immediately after the passage, the Speaker Obasa commended his colleagues for their passion to see that the state continues to grow.
People are appreciating what they have, and they are just looking forward to how to destroy their own state.
The governor of Akwa Ibom State, Udomi Manuel, has assented to the anti-open grazing bill at a brief ceremony in Government House, Uyo. The new law, earlier passed by the State House of Assembly, prescribes a 10 million naira fine against offenders. The law is to prohibit open grazing.
You've seen us signing into law this grazing bill, rearing and grazing bill. Please, we must try to enforce it. We'll implement the law to the letter. And this law is no respecter of any person. Please, if you have those cattle wandering about everywhere, littering everywhere, harassing people, destroying farmlands, destroying crops, I think that has been put to rest today. So let us try and do what we put in the law. I think the Commissioner for Information will try and also put the law on our website so that you can also go and read and see the fines. If you don't adhere to this law, I think the fine is 10 million naira. So we'll be able to also, is the Chairman Board of Internal Revenue here? We have some sources of internal revenue as well. Yes. So, and if we don't enforce it, it means there's no point for us to assign it today. But I want to make sure that we enforce and trust that we will enforce it.
Governor Udomi Manuel explains that when the law is fully operational, it will prevent the destruction of farms, crops, and other property caused by open grazing of livestock, warning that the law will be strictly enforced across the state.
So please, don't call Attorney General, don't call the Commissioner of Police if we actually enforce this law and it affects you. The best thing is to obey the law and do what we've signed today. And I hope the cries of women, especially those in the rural areas, of destruction of their farmlands, of their crops and so on, will be minimized. Will really, really be minimized because there's a whole lot of outcry by farmers who have spent time, spent money getting the crops up to the level that will be close to harvesting season. And someone will just release the cattle and destroy the entire farmland and all the crops. And those women will come crying. And I believe the fines we'll get from this will also use it as, a kind of support for those who have suffered in this manner. Probably just to alleviate the suffering of the people who have lost their farmland, based on the people that will arrest. So once we arrest you, we'll pay for the entire farmland and also make sure you meet the requirements of the law.
On the other hand, the chairman, Senate Committee on Agriculture, Abdullahi Adamu, has condemned the anti-open grazing laws of southern states. Senator Adamu says the laws infringe on the rights of free movement of herders as provided for in the Constitution. He says the government has failed to show support to herders as it has shown to other businesses.
Government owes these herdsmen a duty to protect their calling. And I dare repeat that if you go to Wuse Market here, or any of the big markets in Abuja, you will see how people how federal government has provided Abuja municipal councils and the federal ministry of what do you call it? Of the FCT, Federal Capital Territory. How many or how much infrastructure investment is there? You have corner shops all over the place. You go into the market, the roads are tarred, there's electricity, there's water supply, there are conveniences for toilets. These are for Nigerians. These herdsmen are Nigerians. The government has the same duty that they owe these businessmen in Lagos, in market, in Alaba, in Onitsha, in Kano, wherever. They owe that duty to the herdsmen too.
The meeting reiterated its earlier position
and signed the bill into law, meeting the Southern Governors Forum deadline. The governor signed the bill into law to ensure that the law is firmly established in the state to tackle the issues arising from the open grazing policy. Right after that, The Southwest security outfit Amotekun in Ondo State has swung into action.
Our men apprehended some cows that were destroying farmlands, and we were also able to arrest the owners of the cows. So we brought the cows to our yard in Akoko area, and the owners were invited for questioning in the office. One Alhaji Jumail Idris, who is the Seriki Hausa of Akumba, and the state chairman of Miyetti Allah came with the owners of the cow and the farmers. So in compliance with the anti-grazing law, we directed them to resolve at their own end with the farmers, and we initially decided to charge them to court as contained in the provisions of the law, setting up the anti-grazing rules. But they pleaded and asked for the leniency, and that it will take them some time before they can actually get used to it. We want to sound a note of warning to criminals generally that there is no hiding place for them. We had commenced our 24-hour patrol in all the local governments like we did last year. You remembered that our operation cleanup last year yielded over 400 criminals, and we are doing much more than that now. We are going out of the forest now onto the major roads, and we are going into the cities to ensure that people can enjoy their Yellowtide holidays, and as we are coming in, the criminals should just vacate Ondo State for us. There is no hiding place for a criminal in Ondo State again.
Meanwhile, the Fulani Socio-Cultural Organization Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association is threatening to take legal action against all state governments that are opposed to open grazing. The secretary of the association, Mr. Saleh Al-Hassan, says the ban on open grazing is a deliberate plan to destroy the livelihood of pastoralists in the country.
Anti-grazing laws and policies are attempts to ban open grazing are nothing but populist and corrupt-driven agenda designed by visionless, inept, and desperate politicians to destroy pastoralist means of livelihood. These dangerous and satanic laws must be nipped in the bud by the National Assembly to safeguard the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as it portends greater danger to the corporate existence of the country. These oppressive laws and hostile policies being enacted by state governors are fundamentally going against the Fulani pastoralist culture, economic interests, and constitutional rights. We also are going to take legal actions against the state to challenge them both in our local courts and international courts, because it's fundamentally against the constitution of the country. And then thirdly, we are going to also apply political solutions. That's why we're appealing to the National Assembly, the President, and also initiate series of dialogue, because we believe some of these governors are ill-informed about the real causes of security challenges they are having in their states. And fundamentally, the laws are not implementable.
However, women and young people from Makurdi, the Benue State capital, are asking the federal government to condemn the threats by the leadership of Miyetti Allah. Elsewhere in the state, women marched to the government house to warn against tinkering with the anti-open grazing law.
The president being deceived by some of our sons that don't mean well for this state. They are deceiving him that first they said it is Benue people that are killing themselves. A grave lie.
We need Mr. President to speak to us. Benue State also voted Mr. President. We want him to come out and condemn this act for once, to tell the world that he's against this killing. We are not hearing from Mr. President. All we hear is that it's Benue people that is killing themselves by us distinguished minister. That's not fair.
Miyetti Allah openly challenged constituted authority across the states, demanding not just the repeal of the law that has been constitutionally enacted by the Houses of Assembly and assented to, thereby making it a law in the country. They also went ahead to make derogatory statements against the state governors who are duly elected by their various states.
Nasarawa State has had its fair share of farmers and herders clashes, which has led to the displacement of communities and loss of lives and property. To curb this conflict, the federal government is taking a major step by launching a model ranching hub project in our local government area. The project is a 10-year plan of the government in collaboration with the Netherlands to serve as an alternative to open grazing and curb farmers-herders clashes amongst others.
Therefore being paid to the design of this project, while all interested poultry and crop farmers will be catered eventually. The plan is to take the past 30 families willing and able to ranch in the program, given them all the necessary technical training and encourage them to ranch the animals in the grazing reserves.
The model ranching hub project will be sited on this 22,000 hectares of land earmarked for it in Baure village, and pastoralists who are willing to settle will be given pieces of land.
Insecurity stemming from activities of herders conflict with farmers will be a thing of the past when ranching eventually replaces open grazing. Our experience in Plateau State, particularly in the last few days, where villages in Bassa and Riom local government were attacked, properties destroyed and people killed, make us very eager and determined to implement the NLTP. We believe that this will greatly assist us in curbing incessant attacks and clashes between herders and farmers.
You can tell that security challenges are one of the main reasons why we took this goal as serious as we have. We have taken it so seriously. I started by visiting Benue because of the law on anti-open grazing they have. And today, by the grace of God, by the time this project is completed, they can have all the open grazing law they have. We will not have problems again at this border by the grace of Allah.
For the governors of Nasarawa and Plateau states, the initiative will help minimize security challenges in their respective domains. At the end of the day, many have argued that cattle rearing is a private business and should be treated as such. However, others hold the view that livestock development contributes to the GDP, therefore attempt to frustrate farmers will hamper sustainable development. Hence, the need to find a delicate balance to this controversial issue.
Well, that's it on this episode of Special Report. Thanks for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama.